Mine's just fit perfectly.
That's all right. Well, they should fit just about anyone. I mean, the same as used on sites and fit most people. That's what we hope anyway. They may not be nice, but I've sometimes had. So, first of all, we're going to deal with the passage which we're not allowed to take people along, which is one on the left. So if you don't mind standing in a bit of a line against this wall, I know it sounds a bit regimental, it's almost like a mind your head notice. We can all look back this way and hopefully see this passage, which I will explain now very shortly. So that's a bit of a squash, but if you all, some stand there and some of you stand here, we can all squash in and most of us will get to see this. By this powerful torch, it's about as bright as it's going to go. I have managed to fit 15 New Zealand rugby players in round here, so I know you can squash in a bit more. You want to stand in front of them because you can. Right, this is a very old passage. It's the cathedral passage. In fact, it's a 14th century passageway, which means it dates from 1346 or 1347 when they finished it. It's the cathedral passage, doesn't go all the way to the cathedral, it goes as far as St Stephen's. That's the church in the High Street with a new roof and new render on it. Yeah. After that, it was just a water pipe cut into the ground. It went across the cathedral green, into a well house, opposite the well house pub, and then into the cathedral for baptism. It was a passage across the green. It's a great big graveyard, even today, with thousands of bodies in it. Yeah. So they wouldn't have liked them cutting this passage in. It was also the water supply for Blackfriars, a monastic house. That's where the monks lived, opposite the post office, or there wasn't a post office there. And for a while the Franciscans occupied it. Why the Greyfriars were in Blackfriars, I don't know. You'd have to ask the Pope. I'm sure if you there's no, he is, I believe, usually. Occasionally goes other places. There should be a lead pipe here, but it's been stolen by the builders, and they ended up with about 3 months in Exeter prison. Serves them right.
When they repair it, go down it.
No, because it is repaired, it's too low. If you went down it, you'd have to turn around.
Is it that low on the way, or does it go lower?
Eventually, the only way out is to headbutt a bar, and it flips open and takes you out to the emergency exit.
Sure.
So it's not possible to do it as a tour, because people just do their backs in and sue the council.
Right, okay.
That's what would happen. Enough of that. We're going to do a Georgian passage to start with, and the reason it's there is the headmaster of Exeter School in the 1760s built his house sort of up that way by the beam of the torch.
Yeah.
As soon as he built it, he said the ditch was filthy and horrible right at the back of his house, and the dean should do something about it. So he made the dean show up with 2 local builders who were bricklayers. They covered over the water pipe and filled the city ditch in. If I can struggle to the front, I will lead you along it. That's what I should manage. Excuse me. Success story. Away we go. If I get to the front, into the city ditch we go. Follow me.
And I'll put you right here. Yeah. Oops. Yes.
We're getting lower.
On your way. Shot your head down.
If you didn't want to go that way, you could buy a ticket from there and go underground with one of the that's on the other side of this new brick wall. It's bricked up, there's an old air shelter.
Do that down, Vicky.
Yeah, she has to, but I don't.
30 people. They usually ended up with about 300 people
coloured light.
down here. So it was never big enough. Away we go. Underneath next, that big round cotton high street, 17
God. It's like Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it?
We're going into the vault.
Now go where you.
about it, but it's the only way.
Squeeze in. Breathe in.
Squeezing in.
But since only about 2 people probably class as rugby players, I know it can be done having got the New Zealanders in here. Is that everybody out into the vault?
No.
If you can let them out, please, that'd be fine. There's little bits of space around there you can stand around in. And I'll tell you what we've got. Is that everybody?
No, it's a coming.
Surely good. Thank you for that. That must be everybody.
I think so.
Right, this is a 15th century passageway. Well, I shall on with it anyway. This dates from 1485. Used to go all the way down the High Street.
God.
You can sort of see it heading off underneath the left-hand side of the pavement as you go down the High Street by the light of this torch. Now, we don't go down that bit because it's a job where you have to crawl through and drag your equipment after you. It's badly damaged.
Oh, right.
City merchants cut their way in. Just
Is that crystals coming off the roof?
Well, there are crystals in some of it. Basically, what happens is the lime mortar leaches out.
Right.
So it's a mixture of lime and minerals dripping down from the water.
Sure.
And
they're quite well formed.
Yeah. Well, they're not. Some of them have taken hundreds of years to do that. To be fair. What happened with this passage is city merchants cut their way in, weakened the passage, and it wouldn't really have mattered, but in May 1942, the Luftwaffe, German Air Force bombed Exeter, lines of bombs went straight up the high street, caved this passage in.
Oh.
So it's full.
Did it kill any people in it, like when they used it as an air raid?
The trouble is, in Liverpool, Bristol, London, a couple of other cities, certainly Plymouth, Exeter, there's people missing.
Right.
No one will ever know who was killed in the air raids.
No, sure.
Because they often never got found, and they often
Certainly.
weren't where they were supposed to be.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's full of broken shop glass and black burned stuff and burned things. Whatever was in the shops in May 1942 burnt to a crisp.
Yeah.
This bit here is a vault. This was used by the New London Inn, coaching inn. They had racks here, small barrels of rum and whiskey, bottles of wine in it.
Very nice.
And yeah, I pity they've not got it now.
We'll be drinking it.
Anyway, they haven't. All I can say about this is sometimes people say, well, if you've got a barrel here, you'd have rats tearing into it.
Right.
All the old coaching inns kept pairs of dogs, like Jack Russells and Bull Terriers. If you saw
For
a rat,
ratting.
he'd chuck the dogs in.
Yeah.
We've still got a rat catcher. He's called Robbie. He's from Scotland, and he's not actually a dog.
Good.
What we've got here, for those of you at the front, those of you at the back will hear it in a minute, it's a guard cell or sentry box, part of the old East Gate. High on the right was a doorway from the 1300s. On the opposite side is a gun port. It had an iron cannon here, usually referred to as a drake. It was made of slabs of iron held together with rings. Some documents say the murderer. It's the same cannon, it means murderer. If you got into the city ditch on horseback or carrying a scaling ladder, they'd chuck in horseshoes and nails, obviously with gunpowder, and once you're in the ditch, you'd be cut to pieces by the cannon. Someone dropped it, probably people from the New London Inn, and in 1800 or 1806, early 1800s, a scrap merchant cut it up and took it away. So it's gone. There's an old outlet pipe here with a cathedral on one side with a bit of graffiti, carving. To be honest, they probably reused a socket from the East Gate, because they had stone sockets and the gates swung on them. Plumbers couldn't read and write, but you could get shut outside the city at night, which means it's probably, when that was part of the East Gate itself, that's probably when the carving happened. On the opposite side is a place for candles and train oil lamps, which is filtered oil.